Today's episode was hosted by Einstein HR. It's located in Duluth, Georgia. Thank you.
Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself." But what about a 12-year-old? Harrison Ramsey, H, is on a mission to eradicate meaningless business speak and wants to know what the guest does for a living. If the guest clearly describes their craft or job, they win. If not, they'll have time to further explain, and will know that they need to hone in their pitch.
I'm Jay McDonald. I coach leaders and executives through an organization called Vistage International. I'm a chair here in Atlanta for that organization. And the reason I do that is to help them be the best they can be. I work with leaders throughout all industries, in all sorts of roles, various sizes of companies, from startup companies through to multi-million-dollar companies. What my role is, I'm a long-term experienced CEO owning and running businesses for 32 years. This is a way to give back and also to be an objective, independent, agenda-free person who can coach these folks and help them be better. I'm excited to meet the H.
I'm Harrison.
Jay McDonald, Harrison.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So what do you do?
I chair a group for Vistage International, several groups for Vistage International, the largest CEO coaching organization, peer group organization in the world. I work with leaders of all sorts of organizations to help them be the best they can be. And we do that in several different ways. One, I'm a CEO and business leader myself, having owned multiple different businesses over 32 years and grown and led them. We also have peer group meetings that these folks join, from 12 to 18 people per peer group, meet monthly with people who are...
So you coach leaders of different organizations, usually get meetings of 12 to 18 people?
Yeah. I coach them individually, and I facilitate peer groups that they're in. So my individual coaching is one-to-one coaching, where I meet individually with them. In the peer groups that they join, they are in a group with diversified folks from different industries who don't compete.
Are they all
them.
They have relatively the same job?
Generally, their CEOs are owners of the businesses that they are involved in, or they could be CEO of a nonprofit organization, but they're in the top leadership. They're the key decision maker of the organization they're in.
So what's the difference between a CEO and an owner of a business?
Title, not much else. The CEO generally of a business may be an owner and may not. There are CEOs who are not owners that are brought in, but the CEO is the primary decision maker, the leader of the organization. If you put it in soccer terms, I noticed that you're quite a soccer player.
Yes.
It would be the head coach of the
Team.
soccer team. Or if it were an organization like Concord Fire, it would be the head. Is that the bad competition?
That's the bagger.
Sorry. Well, at least you're competing with them, and there are lots of good groups here in Atlanta. This is a mecca for soccer. But if it were an organization, what league are you in?
Cherokee Impact.
Okay, well, the head of Cherokee Impact would be the CEO for all the teams. So it just depends on the responsibility of the organization. An owner could be absentee and not be involved day to day in the business, or the owner could actively be involved in the business. I've got both. Most of my CEOs do have ownership of some type in the business, and many started the business.
So are you an owner or a CEO or both?
Well, I've been both owners and CEOs. I am an owner of my company, which is my coaching company, and I'm a certified leader through Vistage International. I don't own any of that organization, which has 21,000 members throughout 16 countries. So I do coaching here in Atlanta for that group. I was a CEO for 32 years of multiple companies in multiple industries, so that's a way I can give back through my experience. Being a CEO or a leader in an organization can get lonely at the top, so to speak. So I'm a trusted advisor that they can speak to, who doesn't have an agenda and who will be honest, candid with them, ask the tough questions, much like you do here in interviews like this. And their peer groups also are ways for them to learn from other people who all have similar fundamentals. Businesses have fundamental things like finance and sales and human resources, but they all have different issues. So bringing multiple experiences and ideas and diversity to problems and issues in a confrontational way, and in a way that everybody in the room only wants to make one another better. They don't really compete with each other.
So what are some positives about your job?
Well, there are lots of positives. One is I get to work with some of the most talented people in the world. And every day is a different day. I never know from one meeting to the next meeting exactly what they're going to want to talk about. And our one-to-ones are about them. They're not about me. I tell them I'm the question man, not the answer man. I may have answers. I may have experienced some of the issues that we talk about in a given day, and I'm happy to share that with them if they like, but I try to get them to own their outcome. So watching these people develop and grow, in my opinion, to be a quality leader long term, you've got to be a continuous learner. You've got to keep wanting to grow. And the ones that stand out, having a title, you talked about ownership and CEO, having a title of owner or CEO or president or whatever it is, makes little difference unless you have an impact on the people that you touch, your employees, your suppliers, your customers. And watching these people and their organizations grow and succeed and their people grow and succeed is hugely rewarding. Great positive. And it keeps me off the street too.
So do you enjoy your job?
Oh, I love my job. When I was young, I wrote a paper on myself that basically was, what do I want to be when I grow up? I was an MBA college student. And one of the things I asked myself was, if money didn't matter, what would you do? And the answer was, I would have been a football coach. Money did matter. I had a family to raise and so forth. And at that time, football coaches didn't get paid very well. They get paid really well today. So maybe if I'd done it, it would have been okay. So now I get to be that coach. I do get paid to do it, but it's something I would do for free, which I think is the best career you could have.
So do you have any questions for me, or?
I do. This show and format is unique and interesting, and I'm curious as to, one, why you started it, what your vision is for it, and what you get out of it, and do you have fun doing it? Seems like you do.
So yes, I do enjoy doing this. What I get out of it is mostly just learning, meeting, mostly growing my network with a bunch of different people. And what are some of the other questions you asked? I'm sorry.
What's your vision for it? And
So I'm looking to interview like a lot of different people. It doesn't really matter who it is, but it's just fun to talk and learn about different jobs.
And do you have fun doing what you do?
I love doing what I do. It's very fun.
What's the most important thing you've learned from these interviews? Are there one or two or three takeaways that would be interesting for other leaders? If my leaders that I coach watch this video, what would you tell them they should do to be better at what they do?
To listen to their boss.
Listening is a tremendous leadership quality. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes we listen to speak instead of listening to hear. Mm-hmm. And all good leaders are great listeners, and all of those things get reinforced. And when you're in a room, if you picture our peer group meetings, which are once a month for a day, they're similar to you being with all of your teammates and each of you talking about how you make yourself the best soccer player you could be. And your teammates candidly telling you, well, you're really pretty good at this, but you don't pass the ball enough, or you take too many shots, or you don't play enough defense, whatever it is. And they work together to try to help each other improve on all those things, mm-hmm. to make the overall organization better and to make themselves better as individuals. So that learning, you check your ego at the door and you try to get better and to be the best you can be. That's really the fun of what I get to do every day.
Yes, sir. Well, it was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good to meet you. I felt like the first one went really well. He went over it very clearly. He did not finish his full description within the first minute, but I kind of gathered from context clues what he was. I thought Mr. McDonald was a very nice guy. He had a lot of wisdom. Very wise, as you can see, and he seemed like a very nice dude. I was talking to my dad in the car earlier today about what if someone asked me to give my pitch, like on the spot, me not knowing, and me and my dad were talking about it, and he said that I think that would be cool, and I liked him asking the questions to me, because I don't get that. I'm the listener, not usually the talker. Thank you, Mr. McDonald, for coming on Face the H.
Well, I had mixed expectations. Obviously, I don't recall ever being interviewed by a 12-year-old. I get lots of questions from my 9-year-old grandson, which is somewhat of an interview, but not on camera. I wondered what it would be like, what he would be like, and I also knew I needed to talk about what I do, and I wanted to make sure I did that. I think I probably could have done it much better. I did learn, those were my expectations. What I learned from it was fun. It was a great experience. It was a little bit intimidating, and I don't know that I'm not easily intimidated, but I probably was a little bit. Obviously, I need to shorten my elevator speech. The elevator speech I probably should have given, and I do sometimes tongue-in-cheek, is I help leaders lie, cheat, and steal. And then people look at me and say, well, what do you mean? Are you a lawyer or are you an accountant? And I tell them, no, I coach CEOs, but I say I help leaders lie in bed and dream of what could be, cheat time away from non-productive activities, and steal all the great ideas they can from me and from other great leaders. And that's really what I do. So it was fun getting to know Harrison a little bit. I wish the interview were an hour or so, or I could sit and visit with him without the cameras running, just because he's an interesting person and this is an interesting project. So it's been worthwhile. Glad I did it. Thank you so much, H, for having me on your show. It's been a great experience for me. I wish you the best and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Hello everybody, this is H. If you liked this video, please subscribe. The next video is right here and the previous video is right here. Thank you.